morning, everybody, to Compute for Teams. Champions using Teams effectively. You are the champions. We'll just jump right in here and let me see if there's anybody new. This place you just come, bring your questions. We just all geek out on all the goodness of collaborating in teams. So use chat or come off mute. What I was going to do, I literally just did this, but you guys know, we've talked a little about Teams Premium, and there's a Teams Premium trial out there now for commercial. There's a ways out for GCC, but I did fire that up in my demo tenant. I thought it might be worth doing what we in the technical space call a looky-loo, or or a sneak peek if you want to just see what that stuff looks like. Do a quick shift over here. So yeah, in the back end as an admin, the trial was there as a license. You start the trial, you apply it. And so I just started clicking around again. I haven't really dived deep into the Teams Premium stuff, but what I did see, so one from last week, for those that are here last week, you can see I got my webinar back that was missing last week. Stacy told us about how that was getting rolled out, so it looks like we're good there. Either I'm good or it's back because I started the premium. I should have really checked before I got the trial going. But anyway, it's there. And I fired it up, and I'm thinking this is the new stuff. So if I get this thing going and hit save, then these things start lighting up here. And if you're out there and kind of want me to click on something, let me know. I'm really just kind of trying this thing out, but you can see presenters, co-organizers. I was interested in the theming piece here. So you can see some banner images and the ability to put, a logo for the webinar, presenter bios here as well. And then on the registration side, some configurations here. Attendee, and then attendee status, and then some reports. So I would think, let's go ahead and just publish this, see what it looks like. What I thought I might see there is custom backgrounds for the meeting itself. But anyway, come in here and paste that. And maybe I should use a different user. Well, anyway, so here's the background there, which could have been something custom. Registration looks pretty standard. Yeah, I should have chose a different user, but at least we get to see that there. And then on the actual event itself, looks pretty standard. And on meeting options, I did note it looks the same, but I did notice that message up there. I don't think I see anything new in this list. So it looks pretty standard. I was commenting to Stacy earlier this week that this meeting options list is getting longer as they keep adding more features here. At some point, we're going to have to start grouping these or something, because it's good, but yeah, it's getting long. Get out of that and still add apps. I don't know if any new app is here as it relates to premium. Looks pretty standard there. And so let me just join it. Let's see. So, spell right. I don't know if I'm seeing anything super different in any of these as well. So it looks like your typical meeting there. So yeah, quick breeze through again. I just fired this. I just got the trial going just to see what I might be able to see. So yeah, so certainly the create a webinar piece is a little different there, a few more options. So something we might, well, something I'll be looking into, on my own, but still in preview of obviously, and more to come in the future. Any questions on that or anything anybody wanted me to click on or anything here? Okay. Cool beans. So yeah, I just thought I'd give that a try, see what was up with that. So good stuff. Check the chat here. Let's see, what are we talking about in chat? So Stacy's put the Teams premium licensing link there. And then we got a thing about a funny thing happened. A person sharing video with sound. They didn't have her mic muted. A bunch of background noise started happening from people around her, so she muted her mic. This took away the sound from the video. I've never had this happen before. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that happen either. So she muted her mic, and this took away the sound from the video. I will say,
I actually force muted her. So she didn't mute her mic. I muted it.
Oh, okay. You muted her mic, and then for her, all sound went away, is what you're saying?
Yeah, all of the video from the sound went away. So no one in the meeting could hear that video playing anymore.
Also, if you hit mute all, which is people have a tendency, instead of muting one person, they hit mute all. That also takes away video sound from presentations that are playing. And I happen to do that. I experienced that once on Teams Live, where we had like almost 1,000 people in attendance, and that was bad.
Yeah, I think this is like a new thing. I know we had issues with PowerPoint and embedded videos, and we had to do this workaround where we had to really instruct people that they had to go on mute first and then press play, and then the sound came through fine. So but I think that had changed recently and worked okay. This is the first time I've experienced this where I've muted somebody and the video sound just completely went away when it wasn't embedded. And I even checked that too, because I looked at what she was sharing and it was like just a straight video. It wasn't an embedded file.
Mm-hmm. So we got confirmation that from two of you at least that this is repeatable. So we know it's not just a glitch on your end. Now the question is it a feature or a defect?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's a defect
sounds close,
myself.
Yeah, sounds closer to that. Interesting.
Yeah, for her to get the sound to work again, she came back on, she turned her microphone back on, and then it was another 8 minutes of this video where I couldn't pay attention to it because I heard so many people talking in the background behind her.
Interesting. I'm just trying to think if there was any reason why that might be a feature, but I can't think of any. That's it. And for both of you, is this new? Is this feels like it's new behavior, like something may have changed? Wasn't always this way. Oh,
no, not
always.
For me. It was, yes, this was very early on in
okay. Yeah. So I don't know. And then the next question in my mind is, does any of the new features like Teams Premium or something address or enhance your ability to, play media in these things? I don't know that I've seen anything about that, including in the link that Stacy put there. I don't think I saw anything about media. As I'm looking through it. So yeah, that's an interesting one.
One thing that we did was getting into these various problems, we told people not to embed an audio link in a PowerPoint. Pause at the point at which you want the video to play, pause the PowerPoint, launch the YouTube or video separately, and that seemed to, the sound seemed to work better when the video or YouTube was launched separately, and then that was over, returned to the PowerPoint instead of embedding the link and launching it from inside the PowerPoint.
Mm.
Yeah, the mute first and then press play corrected that issue, so we didn't have to. I mean, there was times where we told people to do that, but once we figured out the mute first, that eliminated that issue. This wasn't even in a PowerPoint. This was just a straight video file that someone was playing.
Mm.
And I didn't want to stop the meeting and be like, "Hey, could you press mute and then press play again?"
Yeah.
And it just it just happened yesterday, so I just fresh on the mind.
Yeah. The only tip I've ever seen about that is kind of similar. I think what Glenn was saying is like especially like a YouTube, and it's basically then you're dependent on the person's internet and their ability to connect to that YouTube video to play I mean, that's not as seamless as it being in the PowerPoint or being controlled by the presenter. But I think that the way the tip was described was kind of just like, as opposed to letting Teams stream it, let the user stream it on their own, which of course that'll work, but not as seamless. So guess there's room for some opportunity there in the media played in Teams for sure. Interesting. Anything else on top of mind on anyone's mind? There's some typing going on in the chat. While Tim's typing there, I will mention, I think this crowd probably knows this, but when Teams gets glitchy, this came up, this past week, Teams gets glitchy. I had to remind someone about kind of my go-to. It's almost like when IT says to have you rebooted your PC, the whole check for updates and then sign in and sign out. The only reason I bring this up is because this week I thought that I might change my my advice to be sign in, sign out, sign in, and then check for updates. And I don't know if anybody out there's got an opinion on that. So traditionally, I would check for updates. I would let it go a little bit, then I would sign out and sign in, and that usually always gets Teams back in order. And if there is some update out there, I get that. Why I now like sign out, sign back in, then check for updates is because that almost always gives me get the message, something to the effect of like, you need to do one more step, click here to refresh. And so that just gives me a warm fuzzy that I do have the latest, greatest. The other approach doesn't necessarily give that kind of message. So yeah, I don't have any data to say what exactly is happening in that approach. I just know in practice that those steps always get me back in order. So again, I suspect this crowd probably knows that. If you weren't aware of that, then, you know, fresh tip for the day, checking for updates and signing out and signing back in is the reboot your PC for Teams kind of thing. So again, just something that came up this week as someone had asked me a question. What else we got out there? So I'm looking at chat. We got to notice that wikis and Teams is going to be retired. Yep, from the short video and the email, it appears there's going to be a tool to migrate existing wikis. Yeah. So and Glenn, Glenn, your hands up, but this is from Tim. So yeah, does anybody know the any more detail on that? I mean, I knew that wikis were going away, and that there was some migration step there, but I haven't heard specifically about a tool per se. And for those, just same page again, we're talking about this tab here, which traditionally has been a default tab created when you create a team. Will go away. I think even before the retirement of it, there was an admin switch to not include the wiki tab as part of a new team, if you want. And yes, I'm nervous talking about it's being migrating to OneNote. I don't know if there are any fans of wikis out there. I have used, most of you know I'm a huge fan of OneNote. You would think I would use OneNote no matter what. I have used wikis in the past. They do have some value in terms of the ease of the sections and moving sections around and things like that. And it's a format that everybody in a team can hit. So I have not totally discounted wiki use in my team's usage. I know there's some folks who absolutely believe there's no value in the wiki. They ignore it. They remove the tab immediately. So we got passionate opinions on both sides. But I get why they would retire it. I suspect the usage was low, and certainly a lot of more bigger feature set in something like OneNote. Tim, they were very popular when we first started with Teams, but lack of search hindered their use. Yeah, that was one of the key things. And usually when I would advise folks, how are you gonna do notes in your meeting? One of the things to consider is kind of how well does the notes you're doing travel. If doing notes in a wiki is very convenient and quick and so forth, but it's very team specific. If you have notes from a meeting that you intend to share, now you might be now you got something to deal with, and then as Tim pointed out, the searching capabilities as well. So I get that. So all that goes away with OneNote. Certainly it's searchable, a lot more flexible, that kind of thing. Glenn, I see your hand up.
Yes, I have a question about PowerPoint Live. We were in a meeting and I was going to share a PowerPoint and I wanted to use the laser and other bells and whistles that PowerPoint Live provides. So I clicked on share screen and PowerPoint Live, and it listed a bunch of PowerPoints that I had previously shared in Teams. And the new one wasn't there because I hadn't shared it before. So I clicked on, upload from my computer, and I uploaded the PowerPoint into Teams, and then I tried to share and do PowerPoint Live again, and the new PowerPoint was not listed in the list of PowerPoints that I had previously shared in Teams. So I clicked upload again, and it said, you've already uploaded it. It's already in Teams. But I couldn't find it and I couldn't launch it. So finally, I just went back to the conventional, launch the PowerPoint, do share screen, and just share it through share screen, not PowerPoint Live. But what did I do wrong, or what should I have done? Where could I have found it?
So my first comment from that would be to consider that you do have, and I'm in the GCC tenant. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, you have this present in Teams button in PowerPoint. In your scenario, I would think maybe that would have been the approach. Open the PowerPoint, hit this. That is going to do the same thing.
There's the list, and it wasn't on the list. And even after I uploaded it, it still wasn't on the list.
Right. So my suggestion doesn't necessarily fix that, but it would have got you going with PowerPoint Live for that PowerPoint. And in fact, I mean, I tend to use this button, even though the share in PowerPoint Live and that list of PowerPoints is there. To me, this is the easier approach to one click and I'm up and running kind of thing. So that maybe that was a side way of answering your question, to just say that could have been another approach to use. But to your point, yeah, why was it not there? Let me stop this and then let me give it a try and see if I can reproduce that. Because in theory, like you said, you would want that PowerPoint to immediately be available in that list. Do I have anything? Do PowerPoint. And did that just happen? What did I just do there? Let's just save a copy of this. That's it too on the desktop. So we come here, and if anybody else has already, had this happen to them or whatever, feel free to chime in. But let's see if I can add this one. Okay, so it isn't popping into that list. Try. I don't remember where that other one was I just made, but yeah, it doesn't look like it's popping into the list right away. Now, if I leave and start up a new meeting, see if it's in that list. Share, still not there. So so to your point, if this has a browse here, you would think that this would show up right away. At least in my test and your experience, it's not. So that's not cool. Now this is zero file size. Let me see if I can make sure there's some content here. Say, that 32. Let's try it one more. Oh, now I saw it. There we go. I see that. Actually fired it up right away. So still not in the list, but it did. I browsed, I went to it, and it just started it up in PowerPoint Live. Maybe that's the intended behavior there. But it sounds like that's not how it worked for you, Glenn, right?
Correct. But somehow I missed the share button being in the PowerPoint itself. Okay. So I will do it that way from now on. Thank you. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that has become my preferred way of doing it. The caveat or a thing to remember there, I don't even think the button shows up unless your PowerPoint is stored in, I guess, either OneDrive or SharePoint online. And then, and I believe it's within your tenant. If you were like trying to present as a guest in another tenant, I don't think that works that way. So maybe that might not be true, but I do know it does have to be stored online for that thing to work. But yeah, that's been my go-to way of presenting PowerPoint Live ever since that button came around. It's way. Oh, and there's my new presentation in the list now.
Question on
Oh.
this.
Yeah.
So, question, comment. So, I've experienced that when you include audio or video files and you share in live, that your attendees have the ability to not follow your presentation, your audio or your presentation. They can, on their end, fast forward through the presentation and listen independently to those videos and those audio clips.
Mhm.
So it's just seems like a little less control.
Yeah. Now, when you do, you can always fire up your presentation and go to private view. Then you're turning off the person's ability to page through. So I do that. One, if I don't want them to page through, why wouldn't I want them to? Well, one, what you just described, but two, maybe I want them to kind of focus on what I'm talking about versus doing their own thing. The other
Correct.
reason I do that though is sometimes I'll do decks with hidden slides. And I believe that if they have the ability to page through, they can go into the, they can actually see the hidden slides. Now, if they just hit next, it'll show, only unhidden. But if they hit that button that I just hit, which now I don't, the grid view, I'm pretty sure they see hidden slides at that point. So whenever I have some a deck with hidden slides I don't want them to see, I'll fire up PowerPoint Live, immediately go to private view for that reason.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And all that being said, the other thing you just mentioned though about the audio in your slides, and they can go to their own page and play it. That ties into that tip I've seen people do related to a better audio experience, because you're letting the user hit play on their own, especially if it's like an embedded YouTube. But again, to your point, it's a little less control as a presenter. Yeah. So yeah, private view. And again, I think we've talked about this in the past, but why PowerPoint Live? What for the end user, why is this any different than you just hitting F5 and going full screen? Now, certainly you get all these cool things here, but for the end user, one, their ability to page through if needed, but even if you're turning off private preview, the other advantage is hyperlinks are live for them. So if you did have hyperlinks in there, they can click it and opens up their browser or whatever it may be. So that's another huge benefit. Otherwise, you get everybody saying, "Hey, are you going to give me this deck afterwards? Because you got all these slides and links in there that I'm interested in." So that's a big plus, is the live links, and then of course all the ability to have all the cool tools there. Last thing I'll say, since I'm in this area, is and it's not, is it not in GCC, the Excel Live? Is that, I don't know if anybody knows if that's still coming, but that's another feature where getting into an Excel file and everyone being able to collaborate on that together. I saw that happen in real life in a meeting I was in, and I did see that Excel Live respected the permissions of that file. So the person actually tried it and everybody got this big window about no access to the file. So you think that's, bad. I like that feature worked, actually. I mean, clearly they were sharing something that wasn't meant to be shared, and, Excel Live respected that security. So something to keep in mind. See some folks typing away. We are about at time. Any last burning questions, or if you want to come off mute instead of typing, we could certainly take
That was
another
me.
question here. Okay.
Yes, I noticed when doing some research that a new feature coming soon is that the reactions will become split. So the raise hand button won't be part of the reactions anymore. And I've seen a lot of people, including myself, accidentally raise their hand when they meant to clap. The bigger the meeting, the more likely it is that you're going to accidentally raise your hand and the people are going to call on you. So I'm really looking forward to that. Any thoughts when that might come to the GCC?
Let me see. I was firing up my commercial tenant because it looks like it's not there yet either. Reactions are still all in one spot. So I don't know, Stacy, if you've got Stacy's typing, so she may have a date she's about to put in chat. But at least I'm seeing on my commercial tenant that it's not there either.
I was actually looking up Excel Live.
Okay.
And we don't have a GCC roadmap for that, so I did throw that in there. Which feature was it that we were looking for? The
So
multiple reactions?
The reactions having the hand raised split out.
Oh,
So we got that internally.
Okay. Yeah,
so
let me double check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I noticed it seems more likely to accidentally raise my hand when I was pressing the space bar to do multiple reactions, which I think is what you're referring to. Lots and lots and lots of clapping or hearts instead of just one.
right. Yeah, that's my go-to as well. Whenever I clap, I don't just clap once. I smash the button and make it look like the whole room's clapping. Yeah, so personally, two things I'm waiting on. I don't know if they're on a roadmap. I am waiting on skin tones for these. We're certainly adding skin tones in Teams in general. It'd be nice to have them here. I'm also waiting on these to get their own shortcuts so that whether it's a keyboard, instead of me clicking and trying to get in here to find it, if I know the shortcut on my keyboard, I can hit it. And then I certainly have these other devices that, these hard buttons that I can map to a shortcut key. So then I can just smash that button as well. So I would love for those, if anybody from engineering is listening, I would love for those features to get into reactions as well. So, but yeah, good stuff. So yeah, we'll see if we can figure out about the roadmap for that, the splitting out of these. But at least at least from my commercial tenant, it's not even in a commercial yet. So awesome. That's good stuff. We're at time, so we'll see again next week. Again, always come with your questions. Hit us up on the side if you got anything or any suggestions for topics. And beyond that, I guess we'll have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Yes.
Ricardo, really quick. It's Minerva. I just was going to put in the chat. We have a peer that actually created a link for end user Teams feature updates that's going based off of the roadmap. And it shows like this call. I'll show some other calls, but I'll put it in here. And there is a specific way to save it in your URL so that you can just look at that. So just another way to maybe look at something so you don't have to go searching for it.
Okay.
But again, it's just for Teams features for end users, nothing admin. But I'll put it in here.
Yeah, if you can throw that in, maybe I can show it on the screen here before we close.
Yeah, it's the latest and greatest version of that Teams feature guide.
Okay.
It's being updated weekly, and it's fantastic. That's taken what we used to have and applied some really great updates.
Awesome. So is there a new AKA link for this, or because we've certainly in this meeting have referred to this, but if there's a new way to access it.
Yes, you're going to click that, and then right there, that's going to tell you how to save it so that every time you click it, you're going to get the latest and greatest.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. Lots of cool instructions. Okay. Oh, and then, there's a lot of cool stuff. All right. So yeah, we'll definitely should check this out. So links in the chat if you're watching on demand, AKA links here, but this is your go-to spot for all the info. So good stuff. Awesome. All right. Great way to end. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a good weekend, and go be champions. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out the blog for more content.